All right, y'all, let's get into the vision, because Daniel tells us to consider the vision when we see these things unfolding. And we have seen these things starting to unfold, and we've been tracking the spiritual aspect of end times. And that spiritual aspect of end times is going to start coming down in a carnal form. Okay? So we are going to start approaching the time when that 4D movie comes. And when this 4D movie comes is when the church says, hey, we're in the tribulation. All right? And they're going to say, we're left behind. Man, we missed it. So the carnal church, the Jew man, the you-man, the Jews have been scattered among all nations. They were scattered before Jesus even walked. Jesus was not Jew. He was Nazarite. Anyways, folks, he didn't recognize the Jewish laws. That's why he didn't go to Sabbath. That's why y'all go back and listen. We will be laying out more of who Jesus was in the future, but as these things are being revealed so fast, it's hard to put it all out at once. But the main points are there to help us understand the coming times and what's going to be playing out as far as the spiritual Antichrist, the capstone, turning into the cornerstone. And that is where he turns into the physical Christ. Okay? So to the carnal man, the Christ will be the Antichrist. Okay? The carnal man will view the Antichrist as the Savior. Okay? Because as the Christ has broken all the laws and is being hung on the cross and has done all these so-called perversions according to the sons of man and their laws and all those things, then the church, who is self-righteousness, and they are the right, which Jesus did not come for the right. He came for the sinners and publicans, the people who do not go by the law. Those who live by faith chose sin. Okay? They chose sin. So you're living by faith. When you live by faith, you're not given to the law. You're not given under the law. So we don't have to go to church. We don't have to give our tithe to that man telling you how to live, making you feel bad, and all this other bullshit that doesn't need to be, okay? The same church Jesus went against is the same church today. The Jew back then is the same Jew today, the Jew inward. The Jew is inward today because the Jews were scattered among all nations. So it's that inward carnal person looking for that outward appearance. And those are the sons of man judging man. So according to man, Jesus was a sinner. Under the law, Jesus was a sinner, but Jesus didn't recognize their laws, and eventually they ended up putting him in prison. They ended up hanging him on the cross, death penalty. So if he was such a sinless man, perfect man, then they wouldn't have killed him, okay? It's all right there in front of you once you understand a few foundations, and thankfully, I have laid out these foundations the past couple years as the Spirit has been feeding me this information. So those of you who have the eyes and ears to hear, let him see and hear. So these 70 weeks of Daniel, this is your 3D time frame, okay? You're going to be seeing stuff that makes you move, all right? Makes you move in your reality, all right? It's going to be jumping out at you. It's going to stir the public, all right? And then eventually that 4D will hit at 7/20/24, give or take a month or two. It will hit around that time. That's the same date. That's when Stormy Daniels ends, the 70 weeks, and that's also when the 42 months ends for the false prophet, okay? 7/20/24. So from here till that 7/20/24, that's that 3D time frame, all right? When they're going to be emerging you into the movies and stuff, and that's why you see the crazy stuff starting to kick up, and it's been boom, 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 boom. It's like the woman giving birth in labor. It just gets closer and closer and closer, and then bammo. I know a bunch of you haven't had birth the natural way, You go in 2-3 weeks early before the baby's even going to come out. Doctor tells you it's late. Got to go cut it out, induce pregnancy, whatever's going on with y'all. Just forsaking the natural use of the woman. It's the reprobate, okay? It's like Moses had given you the law, and you don't even believe that law. So you don't even believe that law. Why would you believe what Jesus told you? Okay? So as these things are coming out, the spiritual man heard the trumpets going, okay? And as these trumpets were sounding, the star was shown, the peace seals made, the spiritual people that have been seeking after truth, knowing that end times is coming, knowing that the dark sun was there before them, and all these different things that it's like end times is here, but it's not happening the way the church is teaching us, right? So that's those spiritual men, and they're waking up, and they're not necessarily looking for that nation of Israel, or they're not looking for that evil man of sin or whatever, because the preachers tell you at the same time, it's this way, but we actually don't even know how it's going to be, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's just a bunch of bullshit, all right? And they're telling you to look for all these physical signs, but when all these physical signs start happening, it's going to be too late. That's when you're like, shit, we're left behind, okay? The things that are taught in all the churches, all the denominations, all the heresies, all that kind of stuff, it's all going to take place in its own way. So like the rapture, that would be happening, but it's not the rapture of the so-called church. It's the rapture of the actual believers who are being caught up and not given over to the delusion of this world, okay? And those are going to be the so-called people, the aliens among you. Because that's a whole nother thing. That goes into the hard vision. I call it the hard vision of the ones that I haven't told y'all yet, because they're so fucking crazy. But actually now, they're actually making sense, okay? So as we're going into that, we're entering the 3D phase, it's going to get more crazy. It's going to sway people to go this way or that way. And then all of a sudden the 4D phase starts coming. This ground starts shaking, start crying. Depression comes in. Okay? All that stuff's going to be playing out. So from 2024 to 2031, that's like that 7-year time frame, okay? It's actually 23.5. It goes 2016 to 23.5, and then 23.5 to 2031. So that 23.5 this summer is when it starts kicking up. And if y'all been following the coding or whatever, understanding that from what I code on the new stuff, we're 6 months to a year out usually. So if y'all remember around September, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that shit, your Christmas and stuff ain't gonna be here this year, all right? Kamala already told y'all to buy it. So they've been boom, boom, boom the past few years, and now it's all gonna come together to where it's the old trifecta, okay? The old tribulation. So the Christ is there, and then you're going to have the Antichrist, Satan, DeSantis coming in against Trump per se, okay? Now Trump is still setting up the spiritual side, okay? He's calling for like the death penalty for drug dealers and those types of things, like extreme shit. So he's still setting that stuff up as far as the capstone, but he's setting up the cornerstone as far as the Christ and going against the laws and those types of things, okay? So we can expect Trump to go to prison, and he could be in prison for as little as 3 months, like waiting for bond, or he could be sent away for 3 years. And this 3 years is when he would get like be working on getting his presidency back and just different stuff. But that would be account for Jesus going into the belly of the earth for 3 days And Jesus didn't go down into hell like that say or whatever, that hell is on earth, heaven is on earth. It is a mindset. You're born of man, you're the son of man, so you're born into hell, the fallen state. And through being born again, we can rise above this world to where this world can't bring us down, okay? To where we can be higher than them. So, the way you get higher than them is to get that head change, baby. All right, so the 4D, okay? This is when we are going to see those things the church has been looking for, okay? We may not see all of them, but we're going to see a lot of this stuff the church has been looking for. And this is that carnal phase for the Jew man, and this is going to let them know that the end is there, all right? Now, 2020, there's things I see in the future that's coming, and it starts to make more sense now, like 2029 time frame. I believe there's an asteroid or meteor or whatever that's headed for Earth. I think it's even called Wormwood or whatever. Either way, I got to go back and check those details, but I know it's 2029 time frame, and it's said to be headed for Earth. So that ties together for the mountain being cast into the sea, and the tidal waves and that kind of stuff that I see coming. But those of you who found me early, y'all found me early, and I've been putting this together on video as all this stuff is coming. So that's why it's a reveal. Some of the things I've said before may not exactly match today, because we are considering the vision, and we are trying to work with what we're being shown and actually what's taking place and what is being seen, okay? So it's all a puzzle that has to be put together, okay? So I expect, like the rapture, okay? This is like when the church can be like, oh shit, we've been left behind, obviously. But this is going to account when the discover everything, the angels can come and gather up the elect and the remnant and all that stuff first, and take them out for the Lord's wrath. And then they can come back like 3.5 years later or so, or 7 years later, however, with the new bodies. And then they come and bring the new technology for the new earth and that kinds of things. Or the government can come and gather up those people for the Christ side and start the new kingdoms that way, because Trump is going to start building the new 10 cities. That's tied to the new 10 horns. That's tied to the new mountains and such. So if you have been treated or whatever, you might not be able to go into those cities. However, it's going to work. But the most extreme form is the disc. The aliens come and gather up the elect. We go missing, and the world, the church, is left behind for 3.5 years or 7 years or whatever, and they have to get caught up. And as they get caught up, they are in their tribulation time frame, and all those types of things, okay? We're going to end the video here, and we're going to get into more of the extreme vision. This ties into the alien stuff that I was shown, and whatever else, okay? So, that's it.